Welcome to Across the Gulf Coast, highlighting organizations, events, and people from around our local community.
Hello, I'm Cam Johnson with Cox Communications, and I'd like to welcome you to the March episode of Across the Gulf Coast. We've got another great show in store for you as we're gearing up for all the great events going on this spring in Pensacola and in Okaloosa County. We're going to start off in Pensacola. As you can tell from our background, if you watch us each month, we shift between the locations. We're going to start at Pensacola with the Pace Center for Girls. Not to be confused with the community of Pace, but the Pace Center for Girls is located near Pensacola State College in Pensacola. And here joining me to talk about Pace and the great event they have coming up next month is Jeff Gallagher. He's one of the chefs for the event we're going to talk about here pretty soon. And Denise Abels with Pace. Denise, thank you so much for being on the show again. You've been here a lot, and Jeff, welcome for the first time.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Denise, you know, like I said, you guys have been on before and talked about Pace, but for people who maybe didn't see past episodes, tell us a little bit about the Pace Center for Girls and what your mission is at Pace.
Great. Yes, so Pace is a school for girls. We call it gender responsive because it is for girls and is geared toward their needs, and girls especially who have been at risk for failing in school and failing in their lives. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of 21 schools in Florida, which were started by a lady in Jacksonville, Florida, Karen Burke. And she just discovered that these girls didn't need to be going to jail or juvenile detention. They needed just some counseling and some tutoring. So it's really a school for girls 11 to 18 years old who get counseled, and they get education at their own pace, and they earn credits to get back into school and can graduate and go on from there.
And what kind of success rate have y'all seen versus some that maybe went through juvenile justice system or, you know, an alternative route?
Right. So these girls, most of these girls are failing or are already out of school. Mm-hmm. They've either been suspended or they just quit. And so their success rate would be just about zero. And so over 90% of these girls increase their academic skills and are able to go on and graduate. Yeah. And then they go on from there a lot of times on to Pensacola State College or UWF.
That's fantastic. And Jeff, I know we were talking before we started about an event you attended recently and kind of your involvement with Pace and some of the stories that you've heard, and you were talking about how they've had an impact on you.
Oh, I was inspired. It's the first time I've been to that event. I've done the Men Who Cook, but I went to their I don't know, was it your appreciation?
Believing in Girls. Believing
in Girls event, and some of the stories just were incredible. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that the impact that this program had on girls in this community, but I was blown away. I mean, they're doing some great work there, and they need people in the community to get more involved for sure.
Absolutely. And Denise, y'all have a lot of different programs that you guys offer, but there were a couple that you wanted to talk about in particular for today's show. So tell us about the three programs that you know, are they new programs or are they just ones that you guys continue to offer?
Some of them are newer than others. The day program, we call it now, is the school that we just talked about, and then there's a GED program, which we have on site now. The girls used to go elsewhere to get their GEDs, and we found that on site we not only can pay their materials, but they can get access to counseling, and so that success rate has gone up. And then we have a REACH program now that is, we go out to the schools thanks to our mobility vans that Impact 100 gave to us. Then we were able to go out to the schools, over 17 schools now. We have counselors that go out and help out there, so it's wonderful.
That is fantastic. So all this, you know, you mentioned Impact, so you got a grant from them, and everything else you guys do, you have to have funding.
Right.
In order to do it, so to get funding outside of the grant, you have events. And you have a great one coming up in April, coming up next month. Tell us a little bit about what's in store for Men Who Cook.
Right, so this is our 7th annual Men Who Cook event, and we get a bunch of guys together, not professional, but they just like to cook. And then before everyone gets there, their dishes get judged by 4 professional women chefs that are in another room. So it's a blind judging. So they all get trophies for those kind of things. And everyone gets to try the dishes. And everyone has a great time, and there's auction items as well. So it's a wonderful, fun event.
And where does that take place, and how can people get tickets?
It's at Sanders Beach Community Center, and you can go online to Eventbrite and look for it. And tickets are on sale right now.
Okay, it's from 4 to 7 on April 7th.
Correct.
Which is a Sunday, so definitely want people to get their tickets early. Jeff, how many years have you been cooking for Minnow Cooking?
I've only cooked once. I attended the event 3 years prior to that, and really enjoyed the event. And then I thought, well, heck, if these guys can do this, I can do this. So I went to Cam and I said, hey, can you get me a spot in there? I want to do this. So I went last year and cooked for the first time. I made a cherry smoked corned beef slider, and I won. So I'm going back again. I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed it. People there are great. They treated us, really well. They waited on us hand and foot, and it was a great event. Great event.
What's on the menu for this year?
I'm kind of torn. I'm not real sure yet. I may be. I may be going. Well, wait a minute. Now I may be going with a muffaletta baked oyster, or maybe a smoked mullet deviled egg. So I'm not sure yet. Still playing around with it a little bit, and I may change my mind on Saturday before the competition.
Yeah.
So. Whatever tastes good that day, I'm bringing.
Well,
I'm just coming to win again. So all the guys out there, be ready. Bring your A game.
Absolutely, and they all bring their A game. It's a great event, and I strongly encourage everybody again. It's April 7th, Sunday, April 7th from 4 to 7 at Sanders Beach. Thank you both so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
Great.
Cam.
Absolutely. Stay with us. We'll be right back.